Vancouver, British Columbia, a city consistently ranked as having some of the best quality of life you can find on Earth, exists an area where this fact does not hold true. The downtown East Side neighborhood, primarily centered along East Hastings from around Abbott Street to Main, is a major hotspot of addiction and mental illness, crime, and homelessness. The area is also an epicenter of the overdose crisis in British Columbia, which was officially declared a public health emergency by the provincial government in 2016. The effects of the overdose crisis were revealed in a study done by the University of British Columbia in 2015, where it was found that residents of the downtown East Side have a mortality rate that is 8 times higher than the national average. It is truly shocking to both citizens and visitors alike that by heading down a short path, you can find yourself going from tourist hotspot Gastown or the rich financial district to one of the poorest neighborhoods in the country. But how exactly did it get here? To better understand the situation, we're going to have to turn back the clock. Although Expo 86 was widely considered to be a success for the city, it is quite likely that the event was the start of the downfall for the downtown East Side area. Vancouver brought to life a world-class city with the commencement of Expo 86, but it also brought in an influx of hardcore drugs. With the increased traffic during the Expo, it was an optimum time for drug dealers to introduce high-purity cocaine and heroin to the city. Things only got worse for the downtown East Side throughout the 1990s, as the Woodward's department store, a staple in the city for over 100 years, went bankrupt in 1993, accelerating the economic and social decline in the area, as many other businesses began leaving in the wake of Woodward's bankruptcy. The year 1993 also saw the federal government stop funding for new social housing despite increasing demand for it. This effectively saw the city's homeless population increase in the years following, the biggest jump being in between the years 1999 to 2002, where the homeless population went from under 600 people to 1,121. Unfortunately, this was not the worst thing to happen in Vancouver during the 90s, as the HIV/AIDS epidemic took a massive toll on the city. At its peak, there were 655 deaths stemming from HIV/AIDS and overdoses in British Columbia, with much of them coming from the downtown East Side. The 1990s were truly a tragic time for Vancouver. Now, in the present day, things have only seemed to have gotten worse. Statistics in 2021 reveal that the average amount of deaths yearly from overdose in BC during the past 5 years was 1,349. Additionally, in each of the past 5 years, the number of deaths attributed to homicide and motor vehicle accidents combined did not come close to reaching the amount of deaths due to overdose. Although many of these deaths happened in the downtown East Side, it is important to acknowledge that these are provincial statistics. Drug addiction is not a problem that is exclusive to specific locations, and is a problem that is not only happening all over BC, but all over the world too. Now, another problem that continues to affect the city is the overrepresentation of Indigenous people experiencing homelessness. Over 39% of the homeless population in Vancouver are Indigenous, despite the fact that Indigenous people only account for 2% of the city's population. A major reason for this statistic existing is due to one of the worst failures by Canada ever recorded, also known as residential schools. These government-sponsored schools were created in an effort to assimilate Indigenous children into white culture, and they did nothing but horrific things. The trauma these children went through created a cycle of abuse that lasts generations.
they would take young individuals from the reservation, and they would take them away from the parents and then put them in the school to assimilate them. The assimilation part would go down, but then there would be little other aspects like sexual molestation and like physical abuse and stuff, and that's what would happen to them. And then they would come back to the reservation and then perform whatever they learned on their family, and then their family like gets all messed up, and then they then they get into the alcoholism, blah blah blah, and then they come down and they somehow wind up in here. It's because of bad stuff and they can't cope with it. So they usually try to switch to those type of vices, which is heroin, crack, or alcoholism, or weed, whatever, or even cutting themselves.
So, what exactly is being done to fix the downtown east side and the people who reside in it? In 2014, the municipal government released a 30-year plan for the area, detailing its goal of adding 4,400 units of social housing to the downtown east side, as well as adding thousands more scattered around the rest of the city. The plan drew some backlash, however, as no real solutions to the area's drug issues were officially proposed. More recently, the city announced intentions to look into revitalizing vacant storefronts along parts of East Hastings, Main, and Powell Street. I believe that this is a step in the right direction, as the disappearance of businesses following the bankruptcy of the Woodward's department store was the beginning of the social and economic decline that now affects the downtown east side. Some things that definitely need to be built upon are mental health services and rehab centers. But most importantly, there needs to be coordinated effort from the municipal, provincial, and federal governments. All three levels of government need to agree on a long-term plan for fixing the downtown east side. Otherwise, growth will be as stagnant as it is right now. Now it seems like everyone wants an instant fix to the issues that have plagued the downtown east side. And as much as people want that, it is simply not possible. This is an issue that has been building for years and will take years to fix. An issue that will require action and coordination from all three levels of government. An issue that needs to be prioritized. The people who want to get out of their situation need ways to do that, and it is my hope that the people who are struggling on the downtown east side get the help that they need, whenever that may be. We have gone over many unfortunate situations in the last little while of this video series, but there's something to be hopeful about. Recently, the municipal government created a website that allows citizens to give direct feedback to the city, giving the government a guide to help plan for the future. With the use of the thousands of comments they received through the website from residents of the Lower Mainland, the municipal government released a list of provisional goals they plan to build upon and flesh out more fully. Within these plans include goals for the environment, such as becoming a sustainable and carbon-neutral city, goals for affordable housing, and goals to better prepare for a health crisis. Now, of course, some of you may be thinking, oh, they're just doing this to show they care and they probably won't fully carry out all of these goals. And you may be right, they very well could be doing that. But in my opinion, the fact that they made a website like that and are even listening to all of these residents' concern like this at all is a great stepping stone to fixing the problems Vancouver currently faces. The first step towards fixing anything is acknowledgement. And that's exactly what the government is doing with this initiative. My hope is that someday, severe housing unaffordability, the opioid crisis, and the struggles people face in the downtown east side will be things of the past, and we can look back around this time and acknowledge it as when things finally began to change, even if it took some time. Vancouver is truly a top city, and for good reason. But that doesn't mean we can stop improving it.